morning, Stampers. My name is Juanette, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in the United States. I have a 24/7 online store that the link will be in the description box, including all the measurements for this card. I'm calling this card a pocket letter birthday card. This one that I'm showing you now was for a coworker. Her name is Allison, but I also made another one for my grandson that was larger. And as you can see, it has a lot of pockets, envelopes, little areas to tuck things in, and I was able to tuck in a bunch of money for his birthday in each one of those little areas, and he had so much fun discovering all the cash for his birthday. For the coworker, we will just be writing little notes in it for her. I'm not going to give her money. Anyway, so to start with the card, it is a card base of thick whisper white, and it measures 8 1/2 by 8 1/4. And the reason it's not a square is because we need to be able to accommodate some of the bulk that will be in the card. So along the 8 1/2 inch side, you are going to score at 2 3/4 and again at 2 7/8. And then I felt it would be easier just to rotate the cardstock to the other side and score again at 2 3/4 and 2 7/8. Then turn it to the 8 1/4 inch side, and you're going to score at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. All the way down. Now those last score marks we are not going to fold and burnish. However, we are going to fold and burnish the score lines that were the 2 3/4 and the 2 7/8. And again, you can see that gives us a little bit of an area to be able to accommodate the bulk of this card. And then, like I said, those other score marks are there just for you to be able to place your mats and all your little pockets. So do not fold and burnish those score lines. Okay, for the mats for each of the squares, you will need 18 pieces of 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, and I used old olive cardstock. Now you will need 3 envelopes, and they end up being 2 3/8 by 2 3/8. And you can see they open up using a little Velcro dot to keep them closed. So what you're going to do is start out with a piece of patterned paper that is 4 1/16 by 4 1/16. And take your envelope punch board, and you're going to punch and score at 2 1/16. And that is the first tick just after the 2-inch line. So you see my paper is 4 1/16, so that is just after the 4-inch mark. And then I punch and score at 2 1/16, just after the 2-inch mark. And you're going to do that on all 4 sides. Now you can see I used different pattern paper for each of the envelopes. And then round your corners off with your punch board, and I apologize for the shakiness of the video there. Then fold and burnish each one of those score lines. And decide which pattern you're going to have on the front. And I decided that larger flower there. Then I took 1/8 inch double-sided tape. You could use glue also, and apply it like you see me doing there on 2 of the sides. Remove the backing with your pokey tool. Lay one over the top of the other one, remove the other backing, and then fold the bottom flap up. And there you have your first little envelope. You will need to do 3 of those. Then to keep it close, I used Velcro dots. These I ordered off of Amazon. I have both white ones and black ones, and since there is black in the pattern paper, I decided to use the black ones, but I didn't need a full one. Now you have 2 sides of the Velcro dots, and I stuck each side together and then cut it in half and only used half. So you peel off the backing, apply it to the top of your envelope, remove the other backing, which will then be sticky, and apply it to the bottom of the envelope. And there you have a closure. Then I took one of my mats, which again are 2 5/8 by 2 5/8, took my all-time favorite glue, which is Beacon's 3-in-1 glue. You've heard me say it many, many times before. I love this glue because it is water-based, does not warp your cardstock. It's a very strong adhesive. It gives you good wiggle room and a lot of strength to your project. Okay, so now we're going to make what I call is our straight pockets. And we're going to need 3 of those. So you're going to start with pattern paper that is 3 inches by 1.5 inches. Be aware of the direction of the paper. Bring in your scoreboard, and you're going to score 1/4 inch on 2 or each of the short sides and 1 of the longer side. Now, because I want these flowers to be facing upward, you can see where I'm scoring that 1 bottom 1/4 inch area, so that when I fold those score lines up, the direction of my paper will be facing upward. So you see I have 1/4 inch score lines at the bottom and both sides. Then fold and burnish each of the score lines. Then to help with the folding of those and to reduce some of the bulk, you're going to take your paper snips and you're just going to snip off each little corner there, just giving it a little miter. And then what I did is I took some of my mini dimensionals and just on the edge there I trimmed off really thin slices of the foam so that it was quite small. It's about 1/8 of an inch, and applied it to each of the 3 sides to then mat over my old olive mat. And that gives you a nice little pocket to slip a note in, or again, some cash. And like I said, you will need 3 of these. I hope everyone is doing well and is staying healthy, being able to stay occupied, find good time to spend with their families, play games, play cards. Now, for the middle pocket, I decided to use some acetate. And to make that, you will need a piece of acetate or window sheet that is 3 inches by 2 3/4. And again, all of these dimensions will be in the description box at the bottom of the video here. And what you're going to do is exactly the same thing you did for that little small pocket. You are going to score a 1/4 inch. So then you are going to score on 2 of the short sides and 1 of the long sides. Then you're going to fold and burnish it. And that is really nice, thick acetate. I save all the packaging from the things that I receive. Like I just recently received a new envelope punch board, and there was some really nice acetate with that. And then for the pattern paper that's going to go into the inside of your acetate window is 2.5 by 2 1/4. And you will just slide it in between those folded score lines. Add again 1/8 inch double-sided tape to the 2 sides. On the inside, you see how I'm folding that down and I'm placing that double-sided tape on the inside fold so that when we remove the other side of the double-sided tape, it will adhere to that middle piece of cardstock. And that is Peaceful Poppies Designer Series paper. So remove your backing, lay down the bottom one first, adhere it, and then each side. And there you see we have a nice little clear pocket. And so you will add double-sided tape to 3 of the sides to layer it on top of your old olive mat, and that will go in the center of your card. You could also use a little bit of the 3-in-1 Beacons glue on the back of that red piece there to adhere it to the middle part of your card. You see, that's how that one looks. Okay, for now, for our next pocket, it is a piece of 7.5 by 2.5. You will need to make 2 of these. So along the 7.5-inch side of your paper, you're going to score at 2.5 and at 5. So then you will have 3 even panels. Fold and burnish those lines. Then bring in your paper trimmer, and what you're going to do is cut on the diagonal from the top score line first on that right hand side down to the corner at the bottom. So lay your paper in the track of your trimmer, making sure it lines up nicely, and trim off so that you have that triangle there. Then just rotate your paper so that then you will be cutting the opposite diagonal. And again, from the top to the bottom. And it's better to start your trimmer on a straight edge than as opposed to the corner, because if you start it on a corner, it may tear your paper. So then you see we have a nice little different pocket there. And I'm just going to add some double-sided tape first to the left bottom area. Go ahead and peel that off so I don't get confused on which one needs to go down. Line it up with the other side toward the bottom. Then apply double-sided tape to the opposite side, remove the backing, fold it over, aligning each corner up nicely, and then add it to one of your mats. And again, you will need 2 of those. Make sure you save the triangles because we're going to be using those next. And to do these triangles are actually very simple. You just take some of your mats, the triangles that you cut off, and you're just going to adhere them to the mat. Now on that one that I showed you right there, I just used double-sided tape. But this other one, I'm going to use some foam tape to raise it up. You could do either way. Again, just a little bit of foam tape to that bottom area there, and then the other side, and adhere it to your mat. And there you have two nice little pockets. The nice thing about the Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper is when you order a pack of it, all of the paper coordinates, and so it really makes doing a project like this very easy. Now these are going to go on the very back of the card, and again you've got 3 of your mats that are the old olive, and then you need strips, 2 of them that are 2 3/4 by 1 inch. And that one strip may be a little bit too long, but it's better to have it too long than too short, because as you can see, when I glue it to the middle, it hangs over a little bit, and all I have to do is turn it over and trim it off. So then you're going to have 2 of those, and then you need a piece of 2.5 by 2.5 for the middle panel. And you just glue that down. And that will go on the back of the card just for a little decoration there. So there you have 3 of those. Now for the front of the card, I took, again, some Designer Series paper, 2.5 by 2.5, a total of 3 of those. 2 are the same color, that red poppy, and then 1 is that Blackberry Bliss. And I die cut Happy Birthday from Blackberry Bliss using the Well, Wishes dies, and also I cut it out of black fun foam to give it some dimension, adhered the fun foam to the cardstock, and then glued that at an angle on the top and bottom mats. That is a really nice die set because it gives you a lot of versatility, and the words are not real big, so they accommodate a card like this very nicely. Then I just took some smaller alphabet dies and cut out Allison's name, also with fun foam, and adhered them to the middle panel. and then added wink of Stella all over the letters just to give them some nice sparkle. Now this is the Peaceful Poppy Suite, and you can see there is a lot included in this suite, including these Peaceful Poppies elements. And in that set you have die cuts that are already colored, you have vellum that can be punched out, you've got watercolor paper, you've got black embellishments that you can use. There is so much that you can use from this. You see that vellum, how pretty that is? That is the watercolor paper, and I did use some of those. See how I just used my I think I used Poppy Parade on that and colored over the watercolor paper using my aqua painter. Now I'm not going to show you how I decorated and glued everything down. You can just decide how you want to decorate it yourself, and in the final card you will be able to see that and how I did do it. There's so much you could do to decorate this card. You can see how up in that one middle left hand pocket it is just the green. I added one of those Poppy Parade embellishments to it. To the center back I put some foam dimensionals on one of those embellishments and added it to the center of the card. There are also sequins that match this suite, and because I had used glue to adhere my vellum, I wanted to cover it up a little bit, and so I used some of those black sequins, and that glue is art glitter glue and it dries clear. It is water-based, so it might warp your cardstock if you use a lot of it, but it is really a good glue for small little areas. And then I had a little jewel that was the same color, the Blackberry Bliss, and added it to the dot of the eye on the word birthday. Now here's how I ended up putting together the box for the card. And again, I only have a little bit of the tutorial here, not all the cutting, but if you would like me to do that for you, I would be more than happy to do a tutorial on that. But I'm just showing you real quick how I put it together. And then I decorated it. I just received the 3-in-1 punch board from Memories. We Are Memory Keepers, and it is nice because it has an extension so that you're able to make larger boxes or envelopes. And so I really think I'm going to enjoy having that in my craft room. What you do when you do make a box, you need to punch and score 2 different areas. I think I will do a tutorial for you guys on that. especially using my new punch board. And I just used my Beacon's 3-in-1 glue to stick down the box. And again, this is a card for a coworker, so I will bring it to work and everybody will write a small little note wishing her a happy birthday, and we'll place them inside of each of those little pockets and present it to her. That one little flap there was just a little bit too big, so I needed to just trim that off because it was catching on the front of the envelope or box. And then I also have to trim off that bottom area of the top flap. See how nicely that fits in there? And then once I decorate it, it really looks pretty. So there's the final card. I used the scraps of some of the designer series paper to decorate it. I think she's really going to enjoy it. Anyway, I hope everyone is again staying safe and that your families are well. You are in my thoughts and prayers. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you do want me to do a tutorial on the box, please leave a comment. And take care. Goodbye. Thank you.